Alright, so a little information about Doge. For those of you who are not familiar with the U.S. government, you elect your representatives for Congress in the Senate and the House of Representatives. They make bills, they pass laws. Those laws, and especially for the House of Representatives, they make the funding bills that all come out of the House Ways and Means Committee. If you did not know that, that's where that comes from. That's where that originates. The House of Representatives does the funding. Senate has to approve that, and then once the bills are reconciled between the Senate and the House of Representatives, they sent that bill off to, once it's passed, to the president. Once the president signs off on that, it becomes law. And if it is unconstitutional what they're doing, then the courts will step in and say, no, you can't do this or that because that's not right. Now, if you come in after that and say, you know what, I don't really want to pay money for this. It's already been funded, approved, and funded, and then signed off on the president. So it's law in the United States. If you go in after that, there's no really any precedence for that, really. I mean, presidents will try to do certain things around the edges, but you can't really go in and say, no, we're not going to do that. You can change how the funding is specified in certain areas, maybe, but the funding is basically has to go in a certain area, and that money has to go to a certain, like within the confines of what was written in the law. But you can't just go in and say, yeah, we're going to cut everything, or cut some parts. I mean, the whole thing with Reagan was he wanted to do the line item veto, and that wasn't passed. Nobody wanted to do that. It was basically the whole bill or nothing. So the line item veto thing was one thing that Reagan wanted to do, but that didn't work. So what Doge is doing, which is basically an executive branch, executive order kind of agency, the president has complete control over that. They are subject to what the laws are. They cannot go in and change what was already appropriated and sent out to be done, and by a president or even Trump himself. You can't go and change that. You can maybe tweak around the edges, but you can't really go in and say, yeah, we're going to just cut this whole thing out and just cut whatever we want to cut out. That's not how it works. And what will happen if you make this okay and the courts have said it's not okay is basically there's no point in you really electing congressmen and senators, representatives and senators to both houses of the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate, because they don't have, well, they can make laws, but then if the president can just say, no, I don't want that. Besides the veto power, which we know of, and then Congress can overturn that with a 2/3 majority. So if the president comes in and says, no, we're not going to do it, and then that sticks, and the courts don't back that up, or so if that sticks, then what happens is, who makes the laws in this country? Congress. Who enforces the laws? The president. Who decides whether something is unconstitutional or not? The courts. So the courts have been saying that Doge cannot do this. And if the executive branch does not enforce this, that's a problem. Now, to break it down real quick, I know it's getting long, if the president can simply overturn everything that Congress does, even with the 2/3 majority overturning his veto, then Congress really has no purpose, right? So you take out the whole legislative branch, and then you just have the judicial, which the executive is going to appoint, and technically the legislative will approve those or not. But if Congress lawmaking ability is cut off, Who makes the laws? The executive or the judiciary. But we all know that the judiciary cannot enforce them. So basically, what you have then is an autocrat. What is an autocrat? El Presidente in a banana republic. It's just basically like the president is the leader, and he's going to take care of you. He will make all the laws. He will make all the decrees. And he may have a Congress, and they just protest or do whatever, or just back him up, or say, yes, you're doing a good job, or no, you're not, but have no real power. If Congress has no real power to make laws, it's a dictatorship. Plain and simple. Sorry for the length, guys. I know it was long, but I thought you guys might need well, not everybody, but there's some people that just need to know, have this spelled out, how it works. So maybe it'll make more sense to some of you people on the right. Maybe some on the left. Thanks, guys. Give me comments.